Hello,
Hello.
hi. How is everybody at home? I'm good.
I'm good.
How is everybody at home? Hi, we are back again on our usual broadcast, our WJ Cow Chat, and once again, I'm Mommy J.
I'm Victor. And I'm
Today we are doing something quite interesting and close to our heart. A new topic, but not just a new topic. It's been something we've been working on as an organization for the past 2 years, and it's a series called the NewMe series. It's a collection of school curriculums, courses, books, and literatures for kids to be able to understand each other and be culturally aware. So today we are starting that series, and we're going to start gently and go on. So the first topic today is going to be express yourself. So that's one of the themes of our program. So we're telling kids and everybody to express themselves in their culture. What we do here is to teach kids or teach people about expressing themselves in their culture and in their identity. And so we want you to go on this journey with us, and we'll begin to talk about everything. And as I've said before, it's a package that discusses people's experience, their cultural descent, and therefore helps to educate about acceptance and tolerance. Okay, now I've been talking. What in the past 2 years, can you kind of tell us a bit of what you think the new me is? I'll start with Big J.
I remember we had like a story kind of group.
Mrs. Speaker.
We had a story group. I can't remember what it was called, but we'd all come in at like 6 or 7 people. And we would read a story. We would look at the PowerPoint, answer questions, and yeah, that was like I think that was one of the first things that we did to do with me.
So that was like the bedtime stories and the stories you
yeah,
read.
NewMe bedtime stories.
Okay, Little J, can you tell us a little bit of what New Me is for everybody to?
It's cultural awareness thing for kids to learn about cultural awareness and join to others that are different from them and learn about them.
Okay, so it's like an awareness program for kids to learn about kids that are different from them and to accept those kids and accept their differences and build friendships on differences. Build friendship on cultural differences. All my friends shouldn't come from Africa. All my friends shouldn't come from Asia. All my friends shouldn't come from Scottish Islands. I need to.
I just have a question.
What question do you have?
What happens if you live in a place where there's like only people from Nigeria, or only people from Ghana?
Then you travel. You travel and find other places where you meet people and talk to people. You see? Or you go on your knees at the god of thunder, moon, light. Bring somebody to whatever. Okay, so you understand. So let's quickly run down the slides we have today and begin to talk about the new me. Thank you for the story. So we said express yourself. So we are talking about telling kids to express themselves in their cultural identity. So what is cultural identity, Little J?
Your cultural identity is what you share with members of the group.
Okay, it could be
language, beliefs, values, traditions of the community come from, and people from different cultures express and celebrate their cultural identity in many ways.
So different from people from different culture express their cultural identity in many ways. So when you go to school, you can express your cultural identity in a way that is different from another person, and don't be ashamed of it, because you have your language, you have your belief, you have your values. It's true, there is a value the whole school walk by. I'm not asking you to devalue the values of the school, I'm asking you to still own to your own cultural identity. Don't throw who you are away because you want to imbibe another value. You know, your language. Don't say, "Oh, now that I'm in Scotland, I'm going to speak Scottish."
That's
And
not really that's more Welsh.
I'm gonna speak Scottish, and I'm not gonna speak Nigerian English anymore because I want to speak Scottish. so, you understand that I still speak like a Nigerian, don't I?
I don't speak like someone.
I speak like Scottish.
No, that's not.
That sounds so well.
I kind of do it. I just speak in Scottish. You lassie. Yeah, I just speak in Scotland. Eh? Oi, oi, oi. Ta.
No.
I just spoke all that in Scottish. You see?
No, Scottish.
Those are Scottish slangs. All right, so that is the culture, and I've tried to imbibe
What's
as
Nigerian?
chai. Chai. Or fa, ba. These are Nigerian ones.
What about
Yeah?
What about Jamaica?
Jamaica.
No,
Jamaica.
Jamaica. I said Jamaica.
Chineke. Oh, Chineke is good now. So,
That's like saying, oh my.
oh my God. So, Chineke. All right. So, let's go. So, people express themselves in different ways. Can you see the different way people express their cultures? And they express their culture through their flags. Mine is green, white, green. And they express through dance. Oh, I just heard about 1 hour of dancing. I like dancing. So people express their culture through music. Oh, I love that. Through language. Bonjour, bawoni, kachifonu. Their dresses, sports. People identify their culture through sports, express their culture through diet, food. Ooh, those that love food will tell me. And people express their culture through different religious beliefs, Jewish, Christianity, Islam. And people express their culture through celebration, Christmas, Easter, Egungun Festival, and New Yam Festival. And people express themselves through symbols. You can see those are the symbols that are related to Britain.
There's like a taxi.
Yeah, taxi, the bank clock,
The Big Bang.
the Big Bang,
Telephone.
London Bridge,
There's
or
a teapot.
teapot. So these are
Smell like tea.
yeah.
And an umbrella.
Yeah, exactly.
Mary
The rain,
Poppins.
Mary Poppins
Mary
rain.
Poppins.
Why is there a hat?
Huh? Because English
Because that's the
people wear
London
hats.
Guard.
That's London. So most of them are associated with England. So those are the things that the symbols that are related to your cultures and the things you try to identify with. Okay, so girls, question.
Can we see the culture wheel?
The culture wheel. So the culture wheel, you have your values, your food and drinks, the arts. They said the object and the tools you use. What other things are there? Your language,
Techniques and skills.
technique and skills, your
Traditions and
knowledge,
rituals.
your creative community. You see, so those are the things that you relate to in your culture. So, girls, now that you've seen all those things, can you tell
I
me?
saw green light, green there.
Yeah, you say yes. Can see that's my flag. Can you tell me, girls, what cultural identity do you identify with, and tell us an example from these things that are here. Little girl, start from you. So just choose one.
That's like we can choose some like flag.
You can just choose one. Yeah. What culture do you identify with, and tell us why?
Can I do diet?
Yeah, you can do it all. Yeah.
So,
Diet.
like,
Yeah.
what I eat. Maybe not all Nigerians and not all people from another country do this.
Mhm.
Like every Thursday, not Thursday, Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
we will eat aba, which is like
Cassava flour,
yeah,
porridge, cassava flour. So you eat a bar every Tuesday. So you identify with
Nigeria.
you identify with
diet.
Nigeria diet on Tuesday. So not
Well,
So,
always on Tuesday. Like
yeah,
today,
well, yeah,
we
today.
do off
So on other days, what other do you identify with any other diet? Pasta? So you
What's
identify
that
with
little J?
when you eat pizza, you identify with the Italians. So when you eat spaghetti,
Wilson.
you identify with Italians. Noodles, you identify with the Asians, Chinese,
Oh,
and
Korean.
Koreans. Okay.
Yeah, Koreans.
Okay.
When you eat rice and
Rice and stew is just general. All right.
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean,
like
but it has
rice
some
and
time.
all
Don't
this
know,
stuff is
Africans
Korean.
Africans do go rice. So yeah. So
Okay, and tea as well.
okay. So you pick one. Pick one.
Sports.
Sport. Okay. What sports you
Some
anything?
Scottish people do a sport called curling.
So do you do curling? I said the
think
one
it's
you do.
curling.
The one you do. The one you do. The one you do. One of them. Choose one. Hockey. What country does hockey? Where does hockey
I
come
mean,
from?
I think Scotland is famous for their hockey, but I'm not sure where it comes from.
Okay, so
Scotland field
Football
hockey.
is like
field hockey. Okay.
football is like
So we say if we say hockey, we identify with Scotland. Okay. What other thing?
Language.
curling
we
is
speak
in Scotland.
You speak language. You speak English. So what does that identify? That's general
Britain.
Britain. Okay. So music. I do enjoy.
Dance. You do
enjoy.
dance. You're
I
literally
dance,
dancing.
I dance my Yoruba dance, Yoruba
So
dance.
that's Nigerian.
Nigeria, that's
Yeah,
right. And then I dance the Scottish dance, Caine.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so I didn't identify with that.
And then music. I feel like I listen to music.
You listen to different variety of music. I listen to African, I listen to
Americans.
Americans, yeah. I listen to folk music, I listen to R&B, so
Oh yes, I like her.
yeah, so
Apparently, that's my most listened to genre on Spotify.
really? That's cool. So the girls have just expressed themselves in these ways, and we've talked about our culture through it. So, before we go into further details, we have, as an organization, means by which we'll help children to document expressing themselves and talking about their culture. One of the things we've done is we've created a journals for kids. So you have the cultural awareness journals, and in the cultural awareness journals, just give the kids a bit of time to talk about their culture, how they interact with other people, and how they talk about their culture. So it would be nice if you really want your kids to be aware of their culture and people around them. Pick up a cultural awareness journal, let them begin to document and build friendships with people from different culture. The topic we are doing specifically today is express yourself, and we have a booklet for kids to begin to think about themselves and how they express themselves with people around them. And we have a mascot taking them through the 30 days journey of how they think about diversity around them and how they express it. And we also have a booklet on confidence and changing perception and all the other ones that will be coming. So they are all out on our website. Click on the button, visit our website, visit Amazon, grab a copy for your kids and for yourself. Actually, you will learn, you will enjoy it because I enjoy doing it myself, and go through the booklet. And so we will just keep going on a journey.
Our awareness journey.
On awareness journey. So that is where we are today. So I like what George Washington said. What he did say.
If the freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led, like sheep to the slaughter.
What does that mean?
It means if there's no freedom of speech, then we're all just gonna be silent.
Everybody's silent. Yeah.
Kind of just.
So now we put it in the context of your culture. So if you are not allowed to express your culture, what happens?
Silent.
Your culture will die. By the time you leave primary school, you don't want to associate with Nigerian things again because they're so lame. I need to move on to my Scottish culture.
No.
Sometimes that's what happens. Okay. So that's why it's important that you should have the freedom to express your culture and don't be silent about it, because if you're silent about your culture and the things we just discussed in the slides before, you end up, forgetting who you are. So we'll just quickly go on. Thank you, George Washington, for telling us that. So now we're talking about speech, and we wanted to dive down into a little bit into the academic aspect of speech, so that kids at home can understand what we mean. Yes, you have something to say?
No.
Why did you call me? So we have what we call culture. We have the verbal and the non-verbal culture. Now, if you want to find out more about that, you can sign up for our cultural awareness courses. We talked a lot about verbal and non-verbal cultures there. And called the verbal speech or verbal communication is where people express themselves through a language. Yoruba, Bawoni, Hausa, Senu, Igbo, Igbo. Hello.
I always said picture.
That was people. How far? Yeah, give me 5. How far? Igbo. What? Kachifunu.
Okay. And then we go to
Bonjour. French.
ciao.
Ciao, Italian. Hola.
Bonjour.
Spanish.
Bonjour.
Gracias. Spanish.
tail.
Okay. Spanish. All right. So those are the so you communicate in your language. But non-verbal communication is when you use wordless message. Tell me the non-verbal communication one uses for you, man. My eyes.
We should have like the highlights.
I highlight on my eyes.
Your eyes talking to us.
I should do that, right? Like. All right. So facial communication, facial expression, eye contact. When I'm speaking to, I say, "Look into my eyes."
Oh.
Or then I'll tell Jet, why are you staring into my eyes? All right. So the tone of your voice. Oh, you want to talk about that? No, Baba, the tone of my voice. I pitch like now, right? And your body posture. What do I tell you, Jen? Listen, thank you. Your body posture. See, I just did the posture. I did the body. So all that is communicating something. Your motion, the way you walk. And the position, your positioning within the group. If you keep staying at the back of the group, at the back of the class, not always, not necessarily an introvert, but there is a non-verbal communication. Is that I don't want to join, or like last week Sunday when I went to church, I communicated something. I stayed away from everybody, right? You see.
But you can be an
I
extrovert.
can't have both of them. I choose where I want to. I'm vertebra.
Inversary. Have a backbone.
I'm vertebrate, invertebrate.
Backbone.
All right. Okay, so other ways we communicate is our clothes. Or when we keep silent, we communicate. And I do tell you a lot that you can be quiet and you can communicate even in silence. All right, so more about speech. So we use about 70% of our non-verbal communications as humans. So I have a graph there that talks about different areas of the word and how they communicate. So we'll go back there. But when we have a conversation, only 7% of our conversation is effective in terms of verbal communication. The tone of a voice is 38, and my tone sometimes really tells you what I'm saying. Yeah, I just used my 38. And then my non-verbal expression is 55, my eyes. You see, that is why even when I don't say anything, you know I have said something.
Wait, try it. What are you doing here? With the adult trainer? I don't know.
She just told me one now. I just did something and she said,
That means
Yeah, she just, I just did one thing and she just said, you mean what in the world are you doing here? Adults, it's only adults are here, children are not here. What does that mean?
Pull up your trousers.
Pull up your trousers.
No, you do like,
I did like this.
go upstairs. Because you keep going like that.
All right, so let's not put out all our non-verbal
Go
speech.
over there.
All right, so we'll say it. So both non-verbal and verbal communications are very effective in cross communication, in cross-cultural communication. But most of the time, it is more effective for non-verbal communication.
So like you don't have to understand the language to be able to communicate.
Yeah, so you can communicate with your eye. For instance, if I don't know how to speak English and I come to you and I say, like, show me the way. Show me the way, and I show you a map. And I say, where does this lead me to? And I show you the point. In other words, I don't know where this is. It's not about communication.
What did they even start saying? Take the F8 to.
No, the person can say,
I forgot it.
Yeah, so go straight or right, go straight, you get where you're going. Exactly, that's non-verbal communication. So let's quickly look at the regions of the world and how they.
Diagram on the
And I'm not sure I know how to do that. We can post the diagram written. You know how to do that? Okay, friends. So
yeah, that's not. We're going to do that.
okay. So
That's like.
yeah,
Full screen.
full screen, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that's the biggest we can get to. All right. So we have the way people express themselves. So we have the expressive values, and we have the survival values, and we have the traditional values, and we have circular and rational values in terms of cultural values. So if you look at it in the regions of the world, the non-verbal survival values are more in the African and the Asian and the Latin American.
Sorry.
So those are the very conservative values. Those are the region. And the expressive values where you talk and talk to express yourself. You find it in the English area, in
Yeah, that
European,
makes
and you see?
Yeah.
That's exactly. And then you have the circular rational values where we're not allowed to express yourself as much as you want to because the government is in charge of everything. That's why they are still on the traditional, but they are more on the secular, rational traditional. Yeah. So they are quite religious, and they depend a lot about the authority determines how their values most of times expressed. So you have them on that region. So you can see we can equally say that they are divided into two. And so if we continue to talk about them, we can say, okay, let's begin to balance the act of expressing yourself. So expressing yourself is quite ambiguous in a multicultural context. And sometimes when kids are in school, I feel sorry for them in their ability to express themselves sometimes, especially for kids that come from those very quiet regions that don't express themselves. So culture differ in the values of speech and the way we express our speeches. We showed you in the diagram. And so we have two different cultural balances we are going to show today. So self-expression is a notion that is associated with some positive concepts like freedom, creativity, styles, self-assurance, healing and spirituality, and all those expressive parts have been shown that people from this area shows those English-speaking people in Protestant Europe shows more of those expressive cultural. I can see what I want to say and I want to say it. But
Yeah.
if you go to the kind of the Orthodox, the Islamic, the African part, you can't just say anything you want to say.
Yeah.
You see? So that is why it's important for us to understand and for teachers in school to understand the cultural differences of kids in their class because it will help them when a child is not speaking always. It's not because the child doesn't know what to say. The cultural norms and the values they came from in their family does not sometimes allow them to always express themselves like somebody that's just polished that can just say anything. And so, if you understand, so how many swallows?
This is in
Right, so the freedom of speech also symbolizes the ultimate freedom of someone. So the ability for you to say what you want to say, like George Washington said, means that you have the ability to stand on your own and you're not carried away by everything. So what are we talking about? So scientific studies have shown the importance of self-expression and the role of cultural belief in children and in adults. There's a psychological effect to it. Am I boring you with my lecture? Oh my god, I'm giving you a lecture after being tired. Cultural differences in verbal expression leads to cognitive performance, stress response, and social support. In other words, when you're in class, your cultural differences affect the way you express yourself, affects your performance in class, affects the way you respond to stress. Now you can dump me into a fire and not respond. But if you dump another person from another culture in just this finger in the fire, it will scream emergency. You see that my response to stress sometimes when I want to take something from the oven, I can use my hands, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not all it's not mothers that do it with my finger, yeah. Because my cognitive pattern has been determined by the cultural values that I came from that, stress, I've kind of responded to life stress based on how I grew up. And the social support, you'll find out that some culture are easily has the easy are able to accept social support more than some other cultures. So that's why when you have counseling in school, some children can easily go for counseling more than other children from other backgrounds. It's because of their cultural background. So it's very interesting for teachers to know all this. So do you know that self-expression is valued in the West? Now we're having the West and the East divide from the diagram we showed earlier. It is not such an emphasis in Asian and African regions, but things are changing. Yeah, the Gen Z and the generation of the millennium. No, what's your generation? Gen Z and generation. Come. Yeah, what? Yeah, what? Then alpha. Yeah, see, they can express themselves very seriously. So speech and expression do not hold the same degree in collective context. So we talked a lot about African as an organization. And we told you that Africans have a collective society. So when you talk about freedom to speak and express yourself, it is not that easy in a society like Africa or Asia because they are collective societies. Okay, so a little brief of my talking again. Little J, can you read the first one? Let me see what you think about it.
thoughtful and self disciplined silence, self and signs of speech and speech is relatively great question because of potential negative visualizations of future and ceremonies
There was no break, there was no full stop. Well done.
Can I read?
Yeah. Do you? Yeah. Read. Let me see.
Thoughtful and self-disciplined silence is often valued above speech, and speech is practiced with relatively great caution because the potential negative social implications of speech are more salient in these cultures than in the left.
So what does it mean?
I think it's talking about a specific place.
especially the East and the African and Asian. We're talking from there. So that means that the Africa and Asian context, yeah, that's right. That's why when parents are talking to you, they expect you to be silent. They expect self-discipline. I just tell you, are you not supposed to know that? Self-discipline, they expect you to just wake up and be motivated by yourself. You see, because that's the culture we came from. We value it above talking too much. One of the things that happened to me was when I came into Scotland. I'm just going to share this experience. When I came into Scotland, I came from a culture where silence is valued. And so when I came into Scotland and I got into school and I saw how students were just, talking in class, and I'm like, what's this? What's they talking? Everybody's just talking. And I said, okay, what happens? Exam will show our differences. By the time we did the exams, the difference was clear. Who was intelligent or who wasn't intelligent? No, I'm not saying they are not intelligent. Now, I'm saying that my own expression is silent and is a written form because of the culture I came from. And you can actually you can actually see my thought pattern in my writing. Their expression is valued by talking, and their intelligence can be measured by talking.
That's why sometimes I think it's smart isn't other than really what we say. I'm smart.
Exactly. If that is that can apply for somebody that is quiet, but it can also apply from the cultural background to come from. So if you're in a class with Asian students, Asian students, do they talk some of them like Scottish children do? Let's give an example. Yeah, you see, relatively, the Asian students might be relatively quiet, but in their output production, when it comes to work and you see where it comes from. They are just quiet. So if we go back,
that's not the thing that Scottish people can.
No, we are just talking about the expressions from different based on their culture. That is why stereotypes. Oh, but it's just the general stereotypes. I like thank you. If you want to know about stereotypes, check our cultural awareness course. We discussed about it, and then so that means that in those cultures, talking too much and being too verbal, too social, have a lot of negative repercussion in the society. So the connection of values and expression is an effect of choice and is shown in the West. So values and expression, just like I said, it's choice, just say it. But there is greater emphasis on self-expression in Africa or in the Asian part. So the West values self-expression more than the Asians and the Africans. So what does that mean? Summary: speech and self-expression are not commonly, routinely encouraged and emphasized in Asian African cultures. So I did my research on culture. Remember, I studied for 5 years talking about cultures. So you should know exactly that, not be speaking from what you know. So let's talk about the general well-being, the psychological aspect of it. So the different cultural assumptions and practice influences how individuals express their thoughts and feelings, and how they act, and how their outcomes is based on their culture. So just in summary, this affects their general well-being. All right, so let's now look at the differences in places. We just talked differences now. So let's read some of the differences that we identify in places. Victor, Little read the first one.
Western cultural context is the primary means to express and clarify oneself.
So they just express and they talk and they clarify their thoughts. But I've been watching a lot of those South Korean movies. They don't express themselves as much, and the authority of the parents or the elders are so emphasized compared to self-expression of individuals. Okay, so speech is not as valued in the Eastern culture context. It is viewed as a distraction to thinking. So they'll say, "Don't talk too much, think." Right? I say that. Yeah. So big J, the next one.
The actual effect of verbalization of thoughts is converting a commonly shared cultural belief.
What does that mean? So the effect of talking your thoughts is associated with shared cultural beliefs. So in other words, a culture that they talk, you can have more expression and more beliefs based on that talking. But a culture where they don't talk too much, their thoughts is inside and everybody just do what they want to do. It's only when you see the outcome of their thoughts. So Westerners tending to engage in more analytical mode of thinking. And what does Easterner do?
They tend to engage in more holistic speech.
Yeah.
Sometimes with what they're doing.
Yeah, their thought pattern. They think more of nature, think of how nature affects them. They think more externally, they think of their family, they think of how that is going to affect the computer is going to affect their life, how the book is going to affect their life, how the light is going to affect their life. They don't just make a decision. But for Westerners, they just analyze one thing. I want the light, and the light wants me, and that is it.
It's not all.
Yeah, I'm just being stereotypical. I'm just giving a general idea. So Westerner engage in verbal thinking compared to Africans and Asians. Verbalization of thought and appearance more seems to be more a complicated task in Asians and Africans. So one of the things I found challenging when I came to the UK was actually verbalizing my thoughts. Sometimes I still find it difficult. I was in a meeting on Friday, very funny one. I was in a meeting on Friday, and after a while, one of the ladies said, "What exactly do you want?" Because I had everything in my head, and sometimes I'm trying to verbalize it, it's not coming just the way I want it. And then she now made a suggestion to another Asian lady. And by the time she finished making the string of words in 30 seconds, I told the about the Asian lady, "Did you record everything she just said?" So that I just repeat it word for word. Because she just said exactly the words as it should be, because their expression is based on verbalization. And you just say it compared to Africans and Asians. So, what's the last one?
Western is moving to popularize and
So they just need to just say just the way they think it. While for Asians and Africans, they don't just say it how they think it. They first of all think. Sometimes when you say something and say, "Did you think how that is going to affect that, 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 that?" I say that to you because that's the way we grew up thinking. We think about the effect of what we say to all, and the ripple effect to all people around us. Okay, so let's go back to. So now that is one of the specifics we are bringing in the organization to the cultural awareness. So, other people's lenses. Which can you read them?
Mhm. Yes, it is. What is the constitutional constituents?
Oh, yeah, those ones. Okay. Go ahead.
Increased stress levels of other governments may override an institutional constitution. Expect to the particular culturally human speech and people who do not share the same
So put that in context of school. What does that mean? Of school? So there is difficulty in class when a teacher expects each student from different cultures to know what she says, how she says it, how she wants it, or how he or she, how they want it. So now people start having problems in the place of work. That's why they need cultural awareness in the place of work. Especially now there's problems and the world is becoming more globalized. You need to understand that when you have a set of 20 kids, they all come from different cultural backgrounds. And what yes means to each one of them is different. Because yes, in my culture can be keep quiet and go. And another person, like, let me give an example. In Japan, when you're talking to an elder, and the elder said, okay, what does that mean? Don't do it. Don't do anything. But if you're talking to a Westerner and you say yes, what does it mean? I'll do it. Exactly, I'll do it. But that doesn't mean that they will do it. So in the context of that, it's different. And so when you have children from that different background and you expect the same level, what is what?
So it means that so things that mean like things that mean like okay or yes to like do it
Means some cultures. But they will still say yes. Everybody, yeah, it means other things. So it means other things. You know, when you say sorry to me, sometimes I'll say sorry has male or a female. Aha. In the context of the Westerner, sorry means sorry. But in the context of an African, sorry means when you say sorry, or you say sorry, there are two different meanings. You see? That's why Yoruba will say Bele, Ola, Ko, Ola, Bo. That means sorry has a male and a female. What's it called? Bele, Bele means sorry. So that means that in another culture, speech is different. So when you come to class and a child says sorry, and a child from another culture says, I don't accept that sorry because you don't mean sorry. You see what it means. You don't really mean sorry because the way you said the sorry is not appropriate. That's where I'm coming from. So you see what I mean. By assuming one mode of expression in class by teachers or and the way of interacting with students as a single mode for interacting with students means that we will bring systematical disadvantage to one group or another. Okay, so we should be aware that when we are making friends, we should not think that the way our culture is the way our friends should accept our culture. We should also learn to think about their culture, how they express things in their culture, so that we're able to build friendship and understanding of different people's cultures. Am I making sense? Yeah. Kids at home, I hope I'm making any sense. If I'm not, send a comment to me and I can explain myself more. It's academic, right? So now we're talking about support now. We're almost there, the big J's and the little J's. When we talk about support, we said culture also affects the way people receive support. Now, for individuals that are coping with issues, it also affects the way they cope with issues based on cultural differences. Now, when it comes to planning and strategies and business ideas and things like that, sometimes there's no cultural differences. But when it comes to social coping, there's always cultural differences. Now, in the African and Asian, can you tell me what you think they do when they need help? Yes, very good. yeah, yeah, yeah. They try to not express their need for help generously as a Western well. And that's why when you have care programs or you have social community issues, you see that Africans might not be fair. Yeah. Yeah, no, and even when it is organized by Africans and Africans, they don't, Africans and Asians don't easily draw, don't really get a support for social support. Let's find out why. It is because they don't like disclosing their problems. They don't like expressing their problem because what happens, they don't want to lose face, they don't want to be the victim, they don't want to be the one person that cannot afford food, afford school, afford, so they don't want to be singled out because that When it comes to class, how does that affect in class? So when you see a child in a social a child that doesn't easily mix with other kids from other culture, you find out if is their social coping mechanism that is at play. Maybe there's something affecting them, or because they don't easily come in to ask for help. Hmm? Does that make sense? In your own words, express it in your words. Mhm.
There's
Exactly, exactly. So, because Westerners they don't see anything, that's why a Western person can easily say, "I have mental crisis." Well, it will be difficult for an African to go out of their way to say, "I have mental health." Yes, we've got this physical study. You see, so it's important that we know these cultural differences and why people don't seek for help. And so in class, it's important for teachers to also know why these things are happening and children from different backgrounds express themselves. Oh, I like this dog. So note, we have explicit support. That is sharing your problems through feelings, which usually the Westerners do. And the read the second one. Exactly. So now
asking them to help you or help.
they help you because you just sit down with them and you talk and you just talk. Then you say, "Oh, I have a friend that cannot afford to come to school." Yeah. Is there any reason? It is one that was the problem. But she would talk about the problem without disclosing the problem. So in class and in school and in communities, when you want to create social support programs or in school, cultural awareness programs in school, they should try and provide both explicit and implicit support so that those that cannot talk about their feelings, the Westerners, will be able to express it in groups without actually disclosing their feelings. Do you understand? I do. So, yes, it really make an impact today. How do you think? Huh? Huh? Well, in the first place, like we were talking about statements, we knew that. So how do you express yourself from the academic position you do? Are you a Westerner or an African Asian expression from anything? Westerner? Westerner. African! Yeah, I'm learning the Westerner. But I feel confused. Yeah, it's good to have a balance of both. So for teachers, for parents, when now sometimes they complain or there are complaints that African parents and their children and the children will say, "Oh, no, I don't understand you. No, I don't understand you." It's just because of those differences in their expression. So you now understand where the differences come from. From the academic part, I think we've been doing about the cultural thing all the way. So academically, you see the explicit support, the implicit support, you see the verbalization, the speed, and how people withdraw their feelings and inability to express themselves because of where they come from. Yeah? You see. So can you teach somebody that what to do? Or explain to them, hey, look at them. All right. So, how do you express yourself? You can tell us, send us a message, tell us what you think about today's topic, and we'd appreciate your comments and your reviews. And thank you for joining us on this long episode of Talking About Expression from Research and Research. All right, so we'll see you next time on How the People Culture. Bye.